Hi, today we're going to talk about pronoun case. So, before you do this video with notes, you should have already taken the pretest on noready.com. So stop right now if you haven't already done that. It should say pronoun case diagnostic step 1. So finish step 1 before you do this. If you've already done the pretest, then there's kind of two different sets of notes today. The first part is for everybody, and then it will continue if you scored below 70%. So right now, find a piece of paper, go old school. At the top of your piece of paper, write pronoun case. You could even say cases, there are 3. So at the top of your paper, write pronoun cases, and we're going to take a little bit of notes. Alright, first of all, remind yourself that a pronoun replaces a noun. So instead of dog, you might say it. Instead of school, you might say it. Instead of saying every single person in the room's name, you might say they. It just replaces a noun, and there are 3 cases of pronouns. So we're going to make a little tree map to classify these. The first case we're going to call subjective. The second case is objective. And the last case that we've already talked about is possessive. Usually possessive is just called possessive. Subjective might also be called nominative, or it might just be subject pronouns. Objective might just say object pronouns. We'll explain. Possessive means ownership. So, we're going to start with possessive because we've already kind of covered that, and I just want you to be clear that possessive pronouns do not have apostrophes. There's no apostrophes in a possessive pronoun. So your possessive pronouns are words like, instead of saying I's, you'd say my or mine, yours, no apostrophe, his, hers, its, no apostrophe. If it has an apostrophe, that means it is. So this is usually the one people mess up. Theirs, ours, like that. Those are possessive pronouns. Usually not a problem. So let's go back to subject pronouns, and I'm just going to call them subject just to shorten it up. Subject pronouns are the ones doing the action. So whatever the action is in a sentence, the subject is who does it. If it's a pronoun, it's a subjective pronoun. An objective pronoun, an object pronoun, is the action happens to this. So, there's only certain pronouns. They are subjective pronouns. It's a pretty finite list. So if someone is doing the action, it's I, you, he, she, it, we, or they. Those are your choices. If you say, I am going to the movies, that should feel okay. You wouldn't say, me is going to the movies, because you're not Cookie Monster. So, these are your subject pronouns. No matter what, if this is doing the action, then this is the words, these are the words you use. One rule about this is you use a subject pronoun also for the word who. That's a subject pronoun. If someone is doing the action but you don't know who it is, you say who stole the cookie from the cookie jar, not whom. Also, if it follows a linking verb. These are words like is or was. So this is why you would say, if someone calls and they say, is this Mrs. Childress? You would say, this is she, not this is her. It's a weird rule. But if it follows a linking verb like is and was, you got to use a subject pronoun. I'm going to kind of draw a little line right here. You should do the same so we keep ourselves organized. Let's move on to object pronouns. These are going to be if something's happening to that pronoun. So instead of saying I, you would say me. You always stays the same. Instead of saying, you know, I kicked he, you'd say I kicked him. And don't kick people. Instead of she, you'd say her. It works the same. Instead of saying we went to the movies, because you're doing it, if you went with us, that's what you would say, and you would say them. Most of you don't misuse object pronouns unless it's a compound, so I'm just going to say be careful with compounds. Write that down. Compounds means it's two things. So I'm going to give you a little example. Please write it on your paper. Okay, so examples about compounds. These are usually the ones you're messing up. A compound means two or more things. And I just heard this morning. Someone said, me and him are going to whatever. Whatever the sentence was. Here's the problem. In a compound, a lot of us want to start with an object pronoun because we see this and, but cover it up. Would you say him is going or he is going? And you would say he. Would you say me is going? Cover up the and. Me is going or I am going? And if you cover up the and, you usually get it right. So I'm going to say cover up the and. If you cover up the and, it usually makes sense. And then you can decide, is it a subject or is it an object? And it's usually easier to figure out that way. If it's a compound, you cover up the and. So try this on your paper. Think about how to phrase this. So, her and I like to swim. If this is your sentence, is this right? Is it not right? How do we check? Cover up the and. Does it seem okay to say, I like to swim? Sounds okay to me. Does it seem okay to say, her likes to swim? Not really. So what's the subject pronoun for her? And it should be she. Just because you use I doesn't mean it's right. It's not okay if you said, they gave money to mom and I. Try it this way. They gave money to mom and I. Would you say they gave money to mom? Sure. Would you say they gave money to I? No. So in this sense, it's a me. So just be careful. If it's happening to that thing, use an object pronoun. If they are doing it, it's a subject pronoun. And you need to check yourself. Reminders. These are usually the two that get messed up. Whether it's subject or object depends on if it's doing the action or if something's happening to it. These are your only options. This one's weird. Remember, if it's doing it, it's a who. If it's happening to that thing, it's a whom. And if it follows a linking verb, you use a subject pronoun. So what we're going to do right now is everybody is going to grab this paper that says Pronoun Forms A, and we're going to walk through this. If you scored below 70 on the pretest. If you scored above 70 on the pretest, then you can skip down to this section and simply turn this in. Come talk to me, get a grade. If you scored below 70, I want you to do this part right here. If you scored above 70, 70 or above, you can skip down to this, or you can do the whole thing if you like. It's up to you. And turn this part in for a grade. Ultimately, once you get a grade, your actual grade today is based on this right here. On the back it says pronoun forms B. So this right here is everybody your grade. Come talk to me if you get stuck. Okay, so if you're doing this part right now, I would like you to write your pretest score right here from No Red Ink, just so I know where you are. We're going to do these first ones together, so just kind of listen and think and pause if you need to. What we're going to do is figure out the correct pronoun as it's listed, and we're going to use our notes and think this through. Without something, as the troop leader, we were less enthusiastic about the campout. So your subject is we, which means this can't be the subject. This has to be an object, so which one of these is an object pronoun? Is it he or him? And if I look back at my notes, object pronoun, him. So without him as the troop leader, we were less enthusiastic, and that should sound right, but I don't want you to worry about what sounds right, I want it to be what is right. The safari guide showed us, or we, how to take better photographs. Who's doing the action? The safari guide is doing the action, so showed object pronoun us, and that should feel okay. The batter with the best hitting record could be he or could be him. And this one gets weird because could be is a helping verb, so you're going to go with he because it follows a linking verb. If you'll notice, if it follows a linking verb, then it's a subject pronoun. And I know that one feels kind of weird. Lucinda and somebody already bought tickets to see Phantom of the Opera. This is a compound. We're going to cover up the and. Would you say she already bought tickets or her already bought tickets? And it should feel okay to say she. So the answer is Lucinda and she. Number 5, it is we or it is us who recommended the Caesar salad. So who's doing the recommending? And this is a helping verb, like is. So we're going to look back at our notes. If it follows a helping verb, then it's a subject pronoun, which is we. Number 6, the reporter asked Nan and they or them if the exhibit was more fun than a movie. So reporter is doing your action. Reporter asked Nan, cover up the verb. Would you say reporter asked Nan? Yes. Reporter asked they? That's weird. Reporter asked them? Yes. Number 7, Jan and we or us saw 3 roads by the gutter spout last night. So who's doing the seeing? Cover up the and. Jan saw 3 roads? Sure. Us saw 3 roads? No. We saw 3 roads? Yes. And P.S. I think that says toads. That makes more sense. Number 8, the airplane to Lima, Peru did not wait for the officer and she or the officer and her. So, what's doing the action? The airplane did not wait for, cover up the and. Did not wait for her or did not wait for she. And her is it. Number 9, it was a baseball announcer, Harry Carey, who or whom was known for shouting, "Holy cow," after a big play. So who's doing the knowing? Harry Carey was known. So would you say who was known or whom was known? And if Harry Carey is your subject, then it's a who. Because we said that a who is your subject pronoun. Last one, we or us skaters have practiced at the ice rink all day. So who's doing the action? We practiced or us practiced? And we is your subject because it's doing the action. This part right here is just notes. On the bottom, this is the part that you're going to do and then come show me to get it checked. Figure out which thing is correct or not. Vincent's sisters and him visited their cousins. Would you say him visited or he visited? And if it's wrong, cross it out and fix it. If it's right, write a C over here. Don't leave it blank, just write a C. So take your time, think it through, follow the rules, come talk to me when you're done.